Chapter 332. After listening to Hua Chenhuan's words, Su Yiyen was silent for a long time. Hua Chenhuan saw the change in her expression. His eyes darkened slightly, and he asked tentatively, "Do you think I'm too cruel?" Su Yiyen looked up at him in confusion. Cruel? Immediately, as if she had heard a joke, she couldn't help but chuckle. Why would you think so? Don't I know what kind of people Hua Qihan and his family are? I'm not a saint. How can I sympathize with them at this time, And? Su Yiyen suddenly leaned in front of Hua Chenhuan and looked straight into his eyes. I believe you. You must have your own reasons for doing everything. Whether this reason is for yourself or for other reasons, I will believe in you unconditionally and support you. Hua Chenhuan's heart finally relaxed because of Su Yiyen's words, and there was a little more warmth in his eyes. This matter has become so big now. How will it be dealt with in the future? If it was only this matter, Hua Qihan might choose to have a good talk with these geological experts and get some compensation to make up for the company's losses. Su Yiyen understood the meaning of Hua Chenhuan's words and asked curiously, "Can't he do that now? You forgot that you just exposed the matter between Hua Xiaofeng and that woman." Su Yiyen blinked and looked puzzled. Is there any necessary connection between these two things? The group of ghostwriters you hired not only scolded Hua Xiaofeng and that woman, but also involved Hua Xiaofeng's upbringing and the Hua family. Su Yiyen didn't expect that Hua Chenhuan even knew that she had hired ghostwriters. She blushed slightly and muttered embarrassedly, "How do you know everything? I was worried that you would be wronged, so naturally, I had to keep an eye on everything." Hua Chenhuan said these words in a serious manner, but Su Yiyen smelled a trace of sweetness from it, and the smile on the corner of her mouth could not help but widen. Who told him to claim that his father is the person in charge of the Hua Corporation when he came looking for trouble with me? He even threatened our company's security personnel to teach them a lesson. I'd like to see who's the one who's humiliating the other. Hua Chenhuan loved Su Yiyen's vengeful look. She smiled and said, originally, these two things were indeed unrelated. However, because of the influence of the Internet Water Army and what you just said about Hua Xiaofeng using the name of the family Hua and Hua Qihan in the video, many people began to doubt the upbringing of the Hua family. It also affected the Hua family's reputation. At this time, it was suddenly revealed that the Hua Corporation's development zone had excavated the remains of ancient creatures. If the Hua Corporation were to ask for a huge compensation at this time, what would the consequences be? Su Yiyen was suddenly enlightened. The righteous people on the internet will definitely say that they are greedy and black-hearted capitalists blinded by greed. The bigger the company, the more it values its reputation. Hua Qihan originally had a chance to make up for this mistake. Now that he has been affected by Hua Xiaofeng's matter, there is only one way in front of him. What? Donate that land unconditionally to protect the company's reputation. Abandoning the rook to save the king was indeed the only way, but will he do that? He has no choice. If he doesn't do that, he will destroy the foundation of the Hua Corporation. Even if he doesn't want to, someone will force him to do it. But will the company's senior management allow him to make such a decision? Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes and chuckled. They will. They know very well that this is the only way. But knowing is one thing, it's impossible for them not to be resentful. Chapter 333. This mess was caused by Hua Xiaofeng. As his father, Hua Qihan naturally had to help him clean up, but this would harm the interests of most people. Hua Qihan had originally hoped that Hua Xiaofeng would do something big to win over people's hearts. In the end, Hua Xiaofeng had offended everyone. It was conceivable that after this incident, Hua Qihan would be impeached by the company's senior management. It was unknown whether he could still hold the position of the head of the Hua group. Su Yiyen quickly understood the meaning of Hua Chenhuan's words. She secretly sighed that giving birth and teaching children was also a skill. If she accidentally raised a debt collector like Hua Xiaofeng, not only would she not be able to enjoy her family life, but she might also lose her chastity in her later years. She wondered if Hua Qihan was so angry that he wanted to stuff her back into Mrs. Hua's womb to be reborn. After sighing, Su Yiyen seemed to think of something. She raised her eyebrows and said, "You didn't expect this early on, so you asked someone to expose this matter at this time, did you?" Hua Chenhuan smiled. "I mainly wanted to vent for you." She had initially set up this trap to trap Hua Xiaofeng's family, but it was also good to expose this matter at this time. It was one thing to have a long-term plan to take back the Hua group, but the most important thing was that they had touched someone they shouldn't have and touched his bottom line. Su Yiyen snorted and said proudly and happily, "You have a sweet mouth. I hope that Hua Qihan's family will be hurt this time and won't jump in front of me in the future. Don't be afraid. We'll deal with them every time they come. Let's see if their blood is thicker or my knife is faster." Su Yiyen was stunned. It took a while for her to react to what Hua Chenhuan had said. She laughed out loud. "Now that you mention it, I kind of hope that they will come a few more times." Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and she said jokingly, "You want to see them in a sorry state so much?" "Yes. Then I'll find someone to broadcast it to you on the day they are impeached." "Okay." Su Yiyen reacted only after responding. She turned her head to look at Hua Chenhuan in confusion. "Why did you get someone to broadcast this live? Don't tell me you have people in the Hua Corporation?" Hua Chenhuan gave her a meaningful smile but did not answer her directly. Su Yiyen thought about it carefully. If he didn't have people in the Hua family, how could Hua Chenhuan know about Hua Qihan's family's movements so quickly and in detail? As for who this person was, Hua Chenhuan didn't want to tell her, so she didn't ask. The process wasn't the most important thing, but the result was. Hua Chenhuan and Su Yiyen had just arrived home when the Hua Corporation's incident was in an uproar. It was worth mentioning that Hua Chenhuan suddenly felt her lower limbs twitch at noon today. Although it was very slight, Su Yiyen was still very happy. This meant that her efforts during this period were indeed effective. Hua Chenhuan's necrotic nerves were waking up little by little. Even if the awakening process might take a long time, and the process would be more complicated and difficult, at least the two of them saw hope. Su Yiyen could never forget Hua Chenhuan's shocked, confused, flustered, and perturbed expression when she felt the movement in her lower limbs. At that moment, Su Yiyen was excited and inevitably felt a little distressed. In order to celebrate this matter and let Hua Chenhuan feel some sense of reality, Su Yiyen decided to cook a big meal to celebrate. For this reason, the audience who had been waiting for Su Yiyen's live broadcast room finally saw someone's long-awaited live broadcast. Chapter 334. You're finally here. Fortunately, I didn't give up. I knew it. The early bird gets the worm. The hard-working child will always be able to wait for the streamer. Sob. The streamer has been neglecting her job ever since she got married. Originally, she only updated once a day, once every 3 days, and once a week. Now, I'm satisfied if she can update once every half a month. I feel wronged. The streamer is really the most irresponsible streamer I've ever seen. She only broadcasted twice a month after getting married. Doesn't she know that no matter how popular the streamer is, it's easy to be forgotten without exposure? Has the audience all run away? As a true fan of the streamer, I really want to persuade the person above to understand that the streamer and her husband are newlyweds after their wedding. It's inevitable that the audience will be left out. As an audience, I really want to say, let's go, let's all go. That way, I'll have a chance at the streamer's lucky draw. The person above. Well said. I actually think so too. After experiencing all kinds of things in the previous live broadcast room, coupled with the fact that she opened a shop in reality, the business was booming, and the demand exceeded the supply. Moreover, the positive rating was as high as 99.9%. The number of followers in Su Yiyen's live broadcast room had gone straight to 7 digits, almost breaking through 9 digits. She could be regarded as the veritable #1 streamer on the website. Who knew how many people's eyes were red? Su Yiyen restarted her live broadcast after a long hiatus. All of a sudden, more than half of the overall traffic of the entire website was absorbed, and a large wave of new traffic was introduced at the same time. This group of people was eyeing covetously, waiting for Su Yiyan to finish her live broadcast to enter the lucky draw. They couldn't wait for more people to leave so that their chances of winning the lottery would be greatly increased. Of course, not everyone was kind to Su Yiyan's absence during this period. Under a lot of complaints, there were also some sour ridicule, such as, "This person is arrogant when she's popular." Other streamers live for 3 hours a day, hundreds of hours a month, and don't even have a day off. The streamer, on the other hand, only broadcasts for a few hours every 10 days or half a month. The most ridiculous thing is that the update frequency is also pushed every time she broadcasts. Hee, does the streamer have some unspeakable relationship with the higher-ups of the live broadcast platform? Finally, there's someone who understands. If I remember correctly, there's a requirement for the length of the live stream every month when the host signs a contract with the platform, right? It's good enough that the platform didn't sue a streamer who broadcasts twice a month, but they actually rejected her. Could it be that she has some kind of PY deal with the company's higher-ups? This kind of sour tone, as well as the inexplicable and consistent reasons for the blame, just by looking at it, it was obvious that the streamers who were jealous of Su Yiyan had deliberately hired the Water Army to slander her. There were also some angry customers who couldn't get a reservation in Su Yiyan's medicinal cuisine restaurant. They gritted their teeth and jumped up and down. The good reviews of the streamer's physical store were probably paid by the Water Army. I used my ID to make a reservation. If there were too many people, I wouldn't have been able to make a reservation. Why did they say that they didn't support ID verification? Is this discrimination against ordinary consumers? If it was the former, the fans would spontaneously attack the other party until they were speechless, and Hua Chenhuan would also have her account banned. If it was the latter, although Hua Chenhuan would also have her account banned, she posted an explanation at the top of the live broadcast room. Mountain Yufusu, the medicinal cuisine restaurant, will not accept viewers whose accounts have been banned. The medicinal cuisine restaurant will also not accept viewers who have slandered the streamer more than twice on major public forums, including their families. I hope everyone knows. Chapter 335. After that, she sent countless tips to ensure that her message was hung in the most prominent position in the live broadcast room for everyone to see. When this announcement came out, the professional anti-water army was immediately silenced. No one could guarantee that their own family members would suffer from 3 disasters and 6 diseases. When would they need help from others? Previously, they kept jumping around on the internet because they were not afraid of being exposed. Now, the other party has directly stripped you of your identity and blocked your last path. Not only did they not have a share in the lucky draw in the live broadcast room, but they could also forget about the medicinal cuisine in real life. Didn't they hate her? That was her shop, so they could forget about the food she made. If they let her go, they would also let themselves go. Most of the accounts that had been banned before and were now jumping around were people who had borrowed their family members' identities to register new accounts. Now, even their own family members were blacklisted. Not only that, but other family members might also be blacklisted. This directly led to many people who wanted to make a reservation at the restaurant, but they could not even pass the identity verification. After asking around a little, she found out that there was such a thing. When she went back, she pulled out the scourge who harmed others and herself and gave them a beating. Of course, this was all in the future. Su Yiyan was preparing to make a lot of things today, and she needed more materials. When she took out all these things, the live broadcast room was already filled with complaints from the audience and the trolls looking for trouble. Then, she saw the explanation sent by Hua Chenhuan. Knowing that he was protecting her, she only felt sweet in her heart and did not care about those negative comments. She only said to the very sad audience who were waiting to be fed, "Recently, I've been busy with the wedding and the medicinal cuisine, so my live broadcast time has been reduced a lot. But from today onwards, I will try to find time to continue live broadcasting in the morning or at night. It's just that the duration of each broadcast may not be as long as before." Su Yiyan did not have as much time as before. During the day, she had to go to the management company, and in the afternoon, she had to remotely place orders for the customers who had made reservations at the medicinal cuisine restaurant. She could only find time in the morning and at night. She also had to consider her time with Hua Chenhuan. Thinking about it, she had no choice but to shorten the time and let the audience who were watching her live stream suffer. Perhaps it was because Su Yiyan had stood the audience up for too long, but when they heard her words, not only did they not feel disappointed, they even became excited. Is the host finally going to be hardworking? As long as the host is willing to do a live broadcast, you can do it at any time and for as long as you want. Seeing this, Su Yiyan smiled and went straight to the point. Thank you for your understanding. Today, we will make a few simple medicinal dishes that are suitable for people with muscle atrophy and who need calcium and bone supplements. When Hua Chenhuan heard the words muscle atrophy and calcium nourishment, she immediately guessed that these dishes were made for her. A smile immediately appeared on her face. First, we're going to make chestnut, corn, and pork rib soup. The ingredients are relatively simple. It's just chestnuts, pork ribs, corn, and a part of the broth I brought back from the shop. As soon as Su Yiyan's voice fell, a few questions floated on the bullet screen. What's broth? Broth is the soup left behind by chicken soup after a long period of boiling. This kind of broth can have a very good freshness effect when used to stew noodles. It will make the noodles taste better. As Su Yiyan spoke, she cut the pork ribs into pieces and threw them into the pot to soak in water. Then, she took them out for later use. Chapter 336. There's a saying in ancient Earth that goes, make up for what you lack. Bones are rich in calcium, protein, and collagen. Eating more can replenish calcium and strengthen bones. As mentioned before, chestnuts can nourish the kidneys and strengthen the waist. It also has a certain effect on bone loosening. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud sound of something being put into the pot, and the fragrance of scallions and ginger wafted out. Then, he added pork ribs, corn, chestnuts, and the stock that he had prepared before. He covered the pot and boiled it until it was cooked. While boiling the soup, let's stir-fry 3 more dishes. Scrambled eggs with wood ears, stir-fried pork loin with chives and walnuts, and stir-fried river prawns with peas. These 3 dishes are all home-cooked dishes that nourish the kidneys, especially stir-fried pork loin with chives and walnuts. It also has a certain effect on bone loosening. Scrambled eggs with wood ears is more suitable for people with muscle atrophy. Su Yiyan's hands were very fast. In just a few minutes, he had finished arranging all the ingredients and stir-fried them one by one. Suddenly, the live broadcast room was filled with smoke, and the fragrance of the stir-fried dishes wafted out. The audience in the live broadcast room and the servants outside all stopped what they were doing and swallowed their saliva. By the time the dishes were done, the soup was almost ready. Su Yiyan tasted the soup and turned off the fire. When he looked up, he saw people cursing with righteous indignation on the bullet screen. Su Yiyan took a closer look and realized that some of the people who had their accounts banned in the live broadcast room before might have known that their whole families had been blacklisted because they had slandered Su Yiyan in many places. They gave up and began to curse Su Yiyan on other public platforms for being cold-blooded and heartless, and bullying. The audience in the live broadcast room witnessed the ins and outs of the matter with their own eyes. They watched helplessly as they inverted black and white and sowed discord. They were also very angry. One by one, they comforted Su Yiyan in the live broadcast room, telling him not to take these things to heart and not to pay attention to these self-righteous idiots who thought that the whole world revolved around them. At this time, Su Yiyan had already pulled out one of the posts and read it. He found that the other party had repeatedly emphasized that he did not want to save someone who was in need. The other party even insinuated that Su Yiyan had previously given the Chinese medicine seeds to the research institute for free because he wanted to curry favor with the higher-ups of the research institute. Ordinary people like them were simply not worth their time. Su Yiyan sneered, I'm not the Virgin Mary. I can't illuminate the earth with holy light. I can't do my best for strangers and even those who harbor ill intentions against me without asking for anything in return. I'm not their mother, so there's no need for me to spoil them. Moreover, I'm just an ordinary streamer, an ordinary shop owner. If you don't like me, you don't have to come. If I don't like you, I can also refuse to sell the fruits of my labor. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Finally, don't flatter me. Everything that flatters me is moral blackmail. I'm just an ordinary person. I can't stand everyone's deification. As soon as Su Yiyen's words came out, many of the audience seemed to be a little shocked. The bullet screen instantly decreased by a lot. You don't have to fight with these unnecessary people for me. A person who has been rejected can't change the fact that they're not welcome here, no matter how eloquent they are. You should be happy because this has already helped you eliminate some opponents in advance. Even if the remaining people are not your own, they must be some like-minded people. Don't you feel more comforted if you think about it this way? Chapter 337. The audience felt as if they had just woken up from a dream. They were both excited and distressed. The host is too stubborn. Some people just think too highly of themselves. They think that everyone has to be their mother. Why don't they look at how old they are? I hate this kind of shameless, giant baby, the most. Hoo, the host is obviously the one being scolded for no reason. She should be the one being comforted the most, but she comforted us instead. What kind of immortal host am I a fan of? Hoo, I like the host who is fearless in front of anti-fans. She can make them speechless with just a few words. I also like the host's gentleness and patience to ordinary viewers like us. Some people really don't deserve to eat the host's food. Support the host. I'm about to die from anger after reading those stupid posts. Just because the host donated the Chinese medicine seeds for free, they think that the host should always serve others to live up to her reputation. They're really taking advantage of others. Give them an inch and they want a mile. Shameless to the extreme. Yes, all departments pay attention. In the future, if you see such comments on the internet, you must tell everyone that the host is being kind by being willing to help others. Endless requests for the host's contribution are shameless. Saving you is kindness, but not saving you is also duty. The host doesn't owe you anything. Su Yiyen looked at these comments that were sincerely considerate of her, and she couldn't help but feel a little more warm in her eyes. Well, let's not care about these annoying things. Next, let's draw a prize. As usual, after picking out a few audience members to send out a portion of today's dishes, Su Yiyen turned off the live broadcast and took the dishes out. Hua Chenhuan saw that she turned off the live broadcast and spontaneously sat at the dining table to wait for the food. Su Yiyen saw this and smiled slightly. Did you wait long? No, running around to do so many things every day. It must be very tiring, right? Su Yiyen was slightly startled. She was a little tired from the full schedule these days. She thought that she had hidden it well, but she didn't expect that Hua Chenhuan had already found out. She opened her mouth and wanted to say that she wasn't tired, but when she met Hua Chenhuan's gentle and tolerant eyes, she pouted and said truthfully, I'm tired. I'm dying of exhaustion. I'm so tired after earning money to support the family for a few days. It seems that I'm more suitable to be beautiful at home. So, you have to get better quickly. I'll be relying on you to take care of me in the future. Hua Chenhuan was slightly stunned. She did not expect Su Yiyen to say that. She felt distressed and amused at the same time. Okay, I'll try my best to get better as soon as possible. I'll earn money to support the family and let you be as beautiful as a flower at home. Okay. Su Yiyen nodded and picked up some food for Hua Chenhuan. If you want to get better quickly, eat well and maintain a good mood. In a few days, I'll accompany you to the hospital for a full body checkup to see the results. Although the auxiliary function could roughly see a person's physical condition, it was not as reassuring as having accurate data. Moreover, the key now was not him, but Hua Chenhuan, the person involved. Su Yiyen wanted to let Hua Chenhuan truly feel that he was recovering and increase his confidence. This would also be beneficial for the treatment later. Hua Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and he nodded. Since his legs were declared dead by the most authoritative doctor, he had never gone to the hospital again. But if it was with Su Yiyan, he was willing to go and have a look. Su Yiyan was happy and continued to pick up food for Hua Qinhuan. Hua Qinhuan looked at the food piled up in the bowl. Her eyes flashed slightly, and she said meaningfully, "If I remember correctly, chives should be aphrodisiac, right?" Chapter 338. Su Yiyan suddenly paused in her action of picking up the food. Then she quietly withdrew her chopsticks and said with a slightly red face, "That's not the only effect. And it's called yang enhancement, not yang enhancement. There's a difference in nature." "Oh?" Hua Qinhuan raised his eyebrows and said, "Although the effect may be different, it should also nourish the kidney." "So you are in such a hurry?" After Hua Qinhuan said this, Su Yiyan's face became even redder. She glared at Hua Qinhuan angrily and put a large amount of chives into Hua Qinhuan's bowl. She said fiercely, "Eat your food. So much food can't block your mouth." Hua Qinhuan looked at her deeply and said lightly, "There's only one thing that can block my mouth." Su Yiyan bit her chopsticks and was stunned for a while before she realized the meaning of Hua Qinhuan's words. Her eyes suddenly widened and she looked at the person in front of her in disbelief. She didn't expect that such a serious person would be so shameless in front of her. The two of them stared at each other for a long time. In the end, Su Yiyan compromised first and took the initiative to kiss Hua Qinhuan. "Are you okay now? Let's eat." Hua Qinhuan looked at Su Yiyan's blushing face. The corners of his mouth rose slightly and he ate obediently. Dun Dun, who had been listless and lovesick since he came home, saw this scene. Every day, they were showing off their love in front of a poor single dog who had just been kicked out of the house by his mother-in-law and lost his wife. Didn't their consciences hurt? Dun Dun, who was hurt physically and mentally, whimpered in a low voice. He leaned on the chair and completely shut himself off. As Hua Qinhuan expected, when Hua Qihan woke up in the hospital and saw Hua Xiaofeng, he flew into a rage and smashed everything in the ward. He almost fainted from anger. It was Hua Xiaofeng's first time facing his father's thunderous rage. The glass cup smashed into his forehead, and blood flowed down his face. The hospital had no choice but to add another bed next to his father's. Hua Qihan got angry as soon as he saw him. He didn't want to be in the same ward as him at all. In the end, the hospital had no choice but to put a piece of cloth between the father and son so that they couldn't see each other. In the end, as soon as they put the cloth in place, the media leaked the news. The father and son fight in the ward. The head of the Hua Corporation is sent to the hospital because of his son. A fight broke out in the ward. The father and son of the Hua Group's leaders are both hospitalized. Father and son turned against each other in the past. Is it the distortion of human nature or the decay of morality? When Hua Qihan saw the report, the ward was almost smashed again. He couldn't wait to send Hua Xiaofeng back to his mother's womb to be reborn. Other people gave birth to a baby, but he gave birth to a son who was a debt collector. Previously, Hua Xiaofeng's family was ridiculed for breaking off their engagement. Later, there were problems with the Hua Corporation's key projects. The Hua Corporation's stock price fell to the bottom for a while. Even though Hua Qihan was in the hospital, he had to take the calls of the company's directors. He had to humbly accept the directors' dissatisfaction and cynicism. In the end, in order to appease the company's directors and stabilize the Hua Corporation's stock price, Hua Qihan had to cut off his tail to survive. He chose to donate the land where the ancient biological site was found. Of course, this donation meant that in addition to the company's heavy losses, he also had to put out a part of his private property to the company to maintain the company's normal operations. This part of the funds was enough to destroy Hua Qihan's years of hard work, not to mention the compensation for the company's other people whose interests were damaged. Chapter 339. The project Hua Xiaofeng was in charge of had a large initial investment. Donating it now was tantamount to digging a big hole for himself, and it would not be easy to fill it. Although the company's directors understood that Hua Qihan's actions were understandable, they were still angry. In particular, Hua Xiaofeng, who had caused all this, was his own son. He also complained about Hua Qihan, the person in charge of the company. The subtle atmosphere among the company's senior management also affected the employees below to a certain extent. Many people were counting on the year-end bonus to have a good year as it was approaching the end of the year. Now that the company was in trouble, the year-end bonus was most likely gone. The basic benefits that they had been looking forward to for a year were gone. This alone was enough to make these low-level employees dissatisfied with Hua Xiaofeng, the young master who came out of nowhere, and Hua Qihan, the big boss. However, they were small and weak. Even if they were dissatisfied, they did not dare to show it on the surface. However, once there was a crack in something, it was difficult to restore it to its original state. Many changes were also subtle. Of course, they did not dare to object, but it did not mean that the company's senior executives did not dare to vent their dissatisfaction. In order to stabilize the Hua Corporation, Hua Qihan returned to the company in a wheelchair on the third day of his admission to take charge of the overall situation. Several of the company's senior directors saw the wheelchair under him. Their expressions were subtle for a moment, but they quickly returned to their original state. I'm sure you guys already know about the development zone in the suburbs. Do you guys have any good ideas? We don't dare to say that we have good opinions. At the beginning, we had reminded you that it was very dangerous to let a young man who had just come out of society and had never experienced experience be in charge of such a project. Now that our words have come true, we have nothing to say. Hua Qihan's face darkened as he looked at the director who spoke. He was an old man in his 60s or 70s with white hair at the temples. He was the senior backbone of the Hua Corporation that had been founded with the old chairman. Even now, he had a certain right to speak in the company. This senior was now basically in a retired state and rarely came to the company. The last time he came to the company was for the company's quarterly summary meeting, which was when Hua Qihan handed over the project to Hua Xiaofeng. This time, Hua Qihan saw that he was dissatisfied with him and was ready to look on coldly. His heart was slightly cold, and his expression did not look good. However, he was in the wrong in this matter. Even though Hua Qihan was angry, he did not dare to lose his temper at the other party at this time. The incident this time was indeed due to the negligence of the subordinates of the young peak. But the most important thing now is how to solve this problem. Everyone present was a sly old fox. How could they not understand that he still wanted to protect Hua Xiaofeng and wanted to find a scapegoat to take the blame for Hua Xiaofeng? They didn't expose him, but asked lightly, "It's about the company's reputation and future development. Do you already have a countermeasure in mind? I propose to give that piece of land to the Supreme Research Institute for free. This way, not only can we seize the initiative, but we can also consolidate the company's reputation to a certain extent. Take it as a free advertisement for the company." As soon as Hua Qihan said this, a director immediately chuckled and said mockingly, "Free advertising? The price of this advertisement is extraordinarily high." The atmosphere in the conference room froze in an instant, and Hua Qihan's face turned pale. In the end, it was the old director from before who became the peacemaker. "Although it's expensive, we have no other choice now." Chapter 340. Everyone in the room fell silent again. The director who had previously mocked Hua Qihan snorted coldly and did not speak again. Hua Qihan could not help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw this. He thought that this matter was over, but he did not expect the old director to say, although it was a last resort, it is also a fact that the company has suffered huge losses because of this. These losses still have to be borne by the culprit. The expression on Hua Qihan's face stiffened slightly, and an ominous premonition suddenly arose in his heart. Sure enough, the next second, he heard the old director say, "As the company's directors, we all agree that Hua Xiaofeng is the main person in charge of this incident and has an unshirkable responsibility for this matter. Therefore, we apply to remove him from the Hua Corporation and never hire him again." What? Hua Qihan's face turned pale. Being expelled from the company and never hired again meant that his son could no longer inherit the Hua Corporation and was directly kicked out of the Hua Corporation's heir list. Which company's employees would accept that their boss had been dismissed by the company? Wasn't this rushing to tell everyone that he was an idiot with no ability at all? However, if Hua Xiaofeng was kicked out, who else could the Hua Corporation in the future if he was not his only son? Did he have to hand it over to an outsider? No, in addition to Hua Xiaofeng, there was another person who also had the right to inherit the Hua Corporation, but that person, Hua Qihan, was so angry that he slammed the table hard, making a loud noise. No, you can't do this. You can't. The old director's old, sharp, and shrewd eyes narrowed dangerously. He chuckled and said, "Young Hua, you have to understand that the fact that we did not ask him for compensation for major engineering mistakes is already the greatest tolerance we have as elders. The fact that we did not directly pull you down from the position of the company's head is also the greatest tolerance we have as elders." These words were not polite at all. To Hua Qihan, it was a blatant threat. These old directors also held a certain amount of shares in the company, but most of them did not have a large proportion of shares and could not compare to Hua Qihan's. This was why he was put in the position of the head. Once they teamed up to deliberately mess with him, or even directly sold these shares, Hua Qihan might not be able to get away with it. Their intentions were clear. Either they let Hua Xiaofeng take the responsibility and get out of the company, or they let all of them get out. Both of them had to bear the consequences of all of them leaving the company. From this, it could be seen that Hua Qihan's usual self-righteousness and this time, Hua Xiaofeng's big trouble had completely ignited the anger of these directors, making them extremely disappointed with the father and son. Hua Qihan's expression was extremely ugly, and his eyes flickered. In the end, he made a decision between himself and his son. I agree. After saying this, Hua Qihan's straight back suddenly collapsed. His whole person seemed to have suddenly aged more than 10 years, and his expression was ashen. The others didn't care what kind of mental struggle he was going through. After looking at each other, they said in a clear voice, "Since that's the case, let's vote. Those who agree to fire Hua Xiaofeng and never hire him again, raise your hand." Whoosh! 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 Everyone in the conference room raised their hands, except for Hua Qihan. A unanimous vote. In that case, immediately inform the personnel department to handle the relevant follow-up matters as soon as possible. Chapter 341. The decision to kick Hua Xiaofeng out of the Hua Corporation was made while he was still in the hospital, unaware of what had happened. By the time he found out about it from others and called Hua Qihan to confirm it, it was already too late. Hua Xiaofeng was arrogant and had considered himself the future heir of the Hua Corporation since he was a child. However, he was kicked out of the company just as he was about to succeed. For Hua Xiaofeng, such a fall was like stepping on his face and grinding it back and forth on the ground. It was more painful than killing him. Hua Xiaofeng began to scold over the phone. He scolded the company's directors, his subordinates, and even Hua Qihan. He felt that since Hua Qihan was the person in charge of the company, he had the absolute right to speak in the company. As long as he was willing to protect him, how could the directors casually kick him out of the company? Hua Qihan was already full of anger. He was angry that the company's directors did not give him face, and he was even angrier that Hua Xiaofeng failed to live up to his expectations. In the end, not only did Hua Xiaofeng not understand him, but he also blamed him. This kind of debt collector was better off not having a son. The father and son, who were originally happy and harmonious, seemed to have gradually become estranged from the moment Hua Xiaofeng took the initiative to break off the engagement. This incident was a fuse that completely ignited the relationship between the two, making it impossible for them to return to their previous, fatherly and filial son relationship. Hua Qihan had a very important purpose for donating that piece of land. As soon as he finished negotiating with the research institute, he had asked someone to release a press release to publicize this matter. He wanted to sell the selfless name of contributing to the future of mankind. Unfortunately, the passers-by did not seem to buy it. As far as I know, there is no way to continue the construction of the ancient biological site that has been excavated underground. Are you sure you didn't deliberately bribe the press release to brag about the donation? If I had known about this before seeing the scumbag couple, I might have thought that this was a good idea. Now, it seems hypocritical. Let's go. Hua Qihan thought that once the press release was released, the reviews would suddenly turn around and the company's stock would stabilize a little. He did not expect that a third of the people had the same idea. He was so angry that he almost smashed the office again. On the other hand, Hua Chenhuan kept her promise and told her about how Hua Qihan was almost fired by the company's directors. Su Yiyan listened with relish and said with a smile, Hua Qihan's expression must have been very funny when you said that. If I was there at that time. Hua Chenhuan looked at the gloating smile on Su Yiyan's face and laughed along. However, I really didn't expect this matter. I thought it would take a few days before he made up his mind to donate such a large piece of time. Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment and said truthfully, the reason why this matter has progressed so smoothly is because someone is adding fuel to the fire behind the scenes. Who is it? Your brother. My brother? Su Yiyan looked confused and surprised. How does this matter have anything to do with my brother? Maybe he saw the video of Hua Xiaofeng and his wife looking for you on the internet. He couldn't bear to see you being bullied, so he pushed you behind your back. Su Yiyan nodded. She had to admit that this was indeed something her brother would do. However, since she already knew that he had pushed her behind her back, Su Yiyan had to call him to confirm. Su Yuxuan seemed to have been waiting for her call. As soon as the call was connected, he said, "You finally know to call me?" Chapter 342. There was a hint of jealousy in his questioning tone. However, Su Yiyan seemed to be used to his brother's occasional arrogance and coaxed him. I've been busy recently, so I haven't been in touch with you and Mom and Dad. How have you been? Pretty good. It's just that there's one less person in the family, so it's a little empty. Su Yiyan was stunned, and his heart warmed. He smiled faintly and said, "Then I'll visit you with Chenhuan this weekend when I'm free." As Su Yiyan spoke, he seemed to have thought of something and added, "I'll bring you delicious food. I'm the eldest young master of the Su family. What delicious food have I not eaten? Why would I miss the food you bring back?" Yes, yes, yes. You don't miss it. It's just that I've come up with a few new dishes recently, and I want you to try my cooking. She did not know who ate the most when she cooked at home. Su Yuxuan listened to his sister's coaxing and said awkwardly, "Since you've said so, Mom and Dad will wait at home and see if your cooking has improved after moving to the family Hua." Okay. Su Yuxuan chatted with Su Yiyan for a while and suddenly asked, "Don't you have anything else to ask me?" Ahem, I do have something to ask you. About the Hua Corporation, did you also? That's right. I bribed the media to deliberately fan the flames and blow the matter up. I also secretly found a close friend and asked the elders in his family to help put pressure on Hua Qihan. It would have been better if Su Yiyan did not mention this. Now that he mentioned it, Su Yuxuan felt wronged. Back then, when his sister was wronged in school, the first person she ran home to look for was him, her brother, with red eyes. Now, Hua Xiaofeng brought that mistress to find trouble with her. She did not even tell him about such a big matter. She really did not want her brother anymore after she had a husband. At this thought, Su Yuxuan snorted again and said thoughtfully, "Did Hua Chenhuan tell you? What does he mean? Does he want to denounce me? Do you think I shouldn't touch the Hua Corporation?" When Su Yiyan made the call, Hua Chenhuan was beside her. Although Su Yuxuan did not speak on speaker, her voice was not soft. Su Yiyan heard his accusation and subconsciously glanced at Hua Chenhuan. She saw that his expression had changed slightly, but he was still looking at her gently, as if he was not angry. She heaved a sigh of relief and helped to explain, "You misunderstood him. He didn't mean that. Actually, he was also involved in what happened to the Hua Corporation this time. He was standing up for me." After listening to Su Yiyan's explanation, Su Yuxuan was silent for a moment before he said, "At least he has some responsibility, When Su Yiyan heard her brother praising Hua Chenhuan, she also said happily, "He has always been very responsible. Brother, don't worry. He loves me the most now." Su Yuxuan was caught off guard and felt as if he had eaten an entire lemon. His whole body was sour, but he could not let this sour smell affect his sister. He could only turn his sour mood into anger and said coldly, "Hua Xiaofeng and that woman are really insatiable. They don't know what they are doing. It's good enough that you didn't go looking for trouble with them, but they actually came to slander you. If we don't teach them a lesson, they will really think that the Su family is easy to bully." Su Yuxuan had taken action because of the video, and because the two families had already become enemies because of the annulment of the engagement. Now, Hua Xiaofeng did not know the gravity of the situation. He was clearly forcing the Su family to fight to the death with him. Chapter 343. Su Yuxuan pursed his lips and looked unhappy. "I won't let this go just like that. You should also tell Hua Chenhuan to make his stance clear. The family Hua dared to bully you, so there's no reason for the Su family to take it lying down. I'm not asking him to kick you when you're down, but if he still has a conscience for you, he should just stand by and watch. Don't side with that family, or else I'll deal with him as well." When Hua Chenhuan heard this, she felt that if she didn't explain herself, she might be wrongly accused. She quickly stepped forward and asked Su Yiyan to give up the phone for the time being. "Big brother." Su Yuxuan was caught off guard by Hua Chenhuan's voice. He froze for a moment, then his attitude quickly changed. Hua Chenhuan didn't mind his obvious difference in treatment and said softly, "Don't worry. Not long after we got married, I completely fell out with them. This time, I also got involved in the Hua Corporation's matter. Just like you said, if they dare to come looking for Yan Yan, this matter won't be over so easily. I know what I'm doing." Su Yiyan stood next to him. Her eyes curved slightly, and she quickly chimed in. "That's right, big brother. If he dares to help them, I'll be the first to disagree." Su Yuxuan listened to the two of them echo each other. The corners of his lips twitched slightly, and he said gloomily, "Why don't you agree? Divorce him right away?" Su Yiyan blinked and turned to glance at Hua Chenhuan. She seemed to have made up her mind and replied firmly, "Yeah." Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered slightly, but she didn't say anything. When Su Yuxuan heard Su Yiyan's words, he knew that she hadn't let her feelings get to her head. He said reluctantly, "All right. With your words, big brother will feel more at ease. Don't make yourself suffer. Without him, you still have us as your family. We won't stand by and watch you get bullied." Su Yiyan's eyes curved into crescents as she softly replied, "I know." The two siblings chatted about other things before they hung up the phone after Su Yuxuan reluctantly confirmed several times that Su Yiyan would return home. Before Su Yiyan could heave a sigh of relief, she suddenly heard Hua Chenhuan's emotionless question. "Divorce? It's just a hypothesis. I know you won't do that. What if I did?" Su Yiyan was slightly taken aback. She looked straight into Hua Chenhuan's eyes and said without hesitation, "Then let's get a divorce." "Why?" "Because if you really do that, you won't be the you in my heart anymore. For the sake of a few idiots, he turned against me and my family. If I don't divorce such a husband, am I supposed to keep him for the new year?" Hua Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyan silently for a long time before she smiled and said, "You're right. Huh. There will never be a day like that." Su Yiyan understood the meaning of her words and smiled, "Then I'll wait and see." Su Yiyan seemed to have thought of something as she said, "By the way, I have something to discuss with you." "What is it?" "I plan to agree to Yi Qiliang's proposal and teach him some of the things I have." Hua Chenhuan didn't ask her who Yi Qiliang was, nor did she ask what Yi Qiliang's so-called proposal was. She only asked in a deep voice, "Is this what you were struggling with before?" "Yes. I've said before that as long as it's something you want to do, you can do it. I'll support you unconditionally. Don't worry about the consequences. I'm here." Hua Chenhuan paused and reluctantly added, other family members are here too. Chapter 344. Su Yiyen could hear the awkwardness hidden in his words of concern. She almost couldn't help but laugh out loud. My brother isn't here right now. You don't have to be so nervous. Hua Chenhuan was speechless. Su Yiyen laughed for a while and took the initiative to explain. I agreed to his proposal because I felt that it was a good thing. Even if it would cause some trouble, the advantages would definitely outweigh the disadvantages. A portion of the audience watching her live broadcast should be patients with difficult and complicated diseases. Minor illnesses were one thing, but if possible, everyone would want to be healthy and ordinary people. There were many annoying people in the world like those brainless anti-fans who would criticize anyone who became popular, but there were more cute little angels who had good values and were kind-hearted. She couldn't just watch those who had shown her kindness fall into deep suffering because she was worried that she would be criticized, scolded, or get into trouble. She could clearly help them, but she didn't do anything. Also, Su Yiyen's face was slightly red. Some treatments are really inconvenient for a girl like me to do. It might be better to teach some guys. Hua Chenhuan's eyes narrowed when he heard that. He was interested. For example, for your illness, you need to remove the needle from the hoop jump acupoint. Su Yiyen's eyes began to wander. The hoop jump acupoint is where I asked you to take off your pants and prick it the other day. Hua Chenhuan's face darkened. He thought that Su Yiyen might take off another man's pants and prick another man's but one day. No. Su Yiyen was shocked. She looked up and saw Hua Chenhuan's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot. She couldn't help but laugh. You're not allowed just like that? Then if I know how to asterisk. Su Yiyen's eyes glanced ambiguously at a certain important part of Hua Chenhuan's body. Even if Hua Chenhuan didn't know what acupoint she was talking about, he could roughly guess its location. His face immediately darkened. Su Yiyen was also afraid that he would lose his head in anger, so he quickly gave in and said, Okay, don't be angry. Even if you didn't say it, I definitely wouldn't do such a thing to anyone other than you. Hua Chenhuan raised her eyebrows. Did this mean that she was going to do this to him in the future? While Hua Chenhuan was nervous, she also had a little bit of expectation. Su Yiyen didn't know what he was thinking. Seeing that his face had cleared up a little, he let out a sigh of relief and said, I can't bear to watch him die and not save him, but there are many times when it's really inconvenient. Teaching these things can be considered a win-win situation. It was just that if he accepted this invitation, he would probably have less free time. However, I will try my best to coordinate with him so that he won't take up too much of our personal space. What you said just now, Do you need a live demonstration when teaching students? Huh? Su Yiyen didn't understand what Hua Chenhuan meant. If you need to, you definitely can't find anyone other than me. Su Yiyen finally understood what he meant. Her little face was as red as a cooked shrimp. Su Yiyen took a few deep breaths to calm herself down. I will ask Professor Yi to make an imitation doll in advance. It doesn't need a real person. Oh. Su Yiyen. What's with your inexplicable dejected tone? Although the imitation doll was deliberately used to prevent Su Yiyen from seeing other men, even if it was an imitation of a real person, Hua Chenhuan still felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. He confirmed again, you really don't need it? There's really no need. Chapter 345. Hua Chenhuan looked at his wife's blushing face. Although he felt a little regretful, he couldn't continue teasing her. Otherwise, if he overdid it and she got angry, he would be the unlucky one. The eye. You mentioned just now, are you going to insert it when you treat me later? Su Yiyen's body stiffened. She immediately became angry and said, so what if I am? Are you scared now? Hua Chenhuan's eyes lit up. Tonight? Su Yiyen. What's going on? Wasn't this guy afraid of needles before? Why did he suddenly change? Just as Su Yiyan really didn't know how to deal with Hua Chenhuan's pressure step by step, someone's phone suddenly rang and rescued Su Yiyan from this awkward situation. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up and she said cheerfully, "You do what you need to do. I'll call Professor Yi." After she finished speaking, she didn't wait for Hua Chenhuan's reaction and ran away as if she was escaping. Hua Chenhuan looked at her back and a trace of a smile flashed across his eyes. However, after seeing the caller ID on the screen, the smile gradually disappeared and was replaced by indifference. Su Yiyan hurriedly retreated until she was a distance away from Hua Chenhuan's sight. She couldn't help but sigh in relief. She secretly lamented that men changed so much before and after marriage that she couldn't take it anymore. Su Yiyan finally calmed down and immediately contacted Yi Qiliang. Yi Qiliang was excited as soon as he received her call. "Miss Su, Professor Yi, just call me Yan Yan." "Okay, Yan Yan." Yi Qiliang was full of hope, but he was afraid of offending Su Yiyan. He hesitated for a moment before he probed, "You suddenly called me. Is it because I thought about it and think that what you said before is indeed feasible?" "So, I agree." That's great, that's great." Su Yiyan listened to the undisguised joy of this old man, who was over 50 years old, and felt somewhat uncomfortable in his heart. "But I have some requests." "Request?" Yi Qiliang was stunned for a moment before he quickly said, "Tell us. As long as it's something we can do, we'll try our best to do it for you. First of all, my free time is limited. I can only attend about 2 classes a week in the morning or in the afternoon, and most of my classes will be on weekends." "That's not a problem." Yi Qiliang readily agreed. "Our school usually has classes on the weekends. As long as you're willing to come, we'll definitely arrange it according to your free time. We won't make things difficult for you." From Yi Qiliang's point of view, Su Yiyan was willing to sacrifice the weekend to teach them, so how could they dare to have any objections? Then there's the problem of the candidates. I hope that your school can help me screen some students with good character who are really interested in traditional Chinese medicine in advance. Grades are not the most important thing. Compared to grades, I care more about character. I don't want students who come to learn this just to seek novelty and stand out from the crowd. If that's the case, I think they won't be able to learn anything." Yi Qiliang's thoughts coincided with Su Yiyan's. Traditional Chinese medicine was already unpopular and rare. If a group of students who were not interested in it and came here just to waste their time and graduate to learn this, Yi Qiliang felt that it was a waste of resources. "Don't worry about this. Our school will screen in advance students who really like this subject, who are hardworking and have good character, and who are willing to learn this knowledge. We don't ask for quantity, but quality." Chapter 346. This promise, which sounded like a slogan, almost made Su Yiyan laugh. "That's good. Lastly, and most importantly, I hope that these students will be responsible for their own actions in the future, whether they learn well or not. If they truly gain my recognition, they won't easily use these things on real people before they graduate. Can you do that?" Yi Qiliang was stunned, then he smiled and said, "That's for sure. Practicing medicine and saving people is a matter of life and death. If you don't learn well, you won't be helping people, you'll be harming them." Su Yiyan was greatly relieved to see that he was so reasonable. "Then I'll have to trouble you." "It's no trouble at all." "Then it's settled. I'll go and discuss with the principal about the class schedule." "Teacher Su, when are you free on the weekends?" "Any time is fine. I'm free on the weekends except for noon and evening." "That's fine." Yi Qiliang seemed to have thought of something as he spoke. He coughed lightly and asked in embarrassment, Can the school's teachers, such as me, also attend the class?" Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment, then smiled awkwardly. "Of course you can, but I'm not a real teacher after all. In front of you. I'll be displaying my slight skill in front of an expert. I might make a fool of myself." It's fine, it's fine." Everyone has their first time. We'll just be there to listen. Just treat us as those unimportant murals in the background. Don't feel too pressured. Okay. The two of them quickly settled on the matters to take note of. Yi Qiliang couldn't wait to find the principal to make the follow-up class schedule. The matter that had been hanging in his mind all this time was finally resolved. Su Yiyan felt a lot more relaxed. He walked around downstairs, but in the end, he still felt uneasy, so he turned around and went upstairs. As soon as he reached the second floor, he saw Hua Chenhuan sitting on the balcony, looking at the back garden below through the transparent glass window. Su Yiyan walked behind him, put his hand on his shoulder, and asked in a low voice, "What are you looking at?" "Nothing." "Have you explained it clearly to Yi Qiliang?" "Yeah, who was looking for you just now?" Hua Chenhuan was silent for a few seconds and said truthfully, "A few old directors of the Hua Corporation." "The old director of the Hua Corporation?" Su Yiyan was surprised. "Why are they looking for you?" Hua Xiaofeng was kicked out of the Hua Corporation in such a humiliating way. The company will never accept such a disgraced person as the successor of the Hua Corporation. Su Yiyan had a flash of inspiration when she heard this. "If they're looking for you now, could it be that they want you to return to the Hua Corporation?" "Yes." "But isn't Hua Qihan still here? Aren't they afraid that he'll—" Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed with a trace of sarcasm. Maybe they finally realized that even if the company was handed over to a disabled person, it would still be better than handing it over to a mediocre person who has no ability and will drag them down. Before his accident, these people had wanted to support him. However, after his accident and his legs were disabled, these people unconditionally turned to Hua Qihan's side and never mentioned their initial optimism for him. Now that Hua Qihan and his son had caused such a big trouble and hurt the interests of these people did not hesitate to abandon Hua Qihan and his son and turn to him to show goodwill. The fickleness of human nature was terrible and cold. Su Yiyan frowned when she heard what he said. She was distressed and angry. "You'll get better soon. When the time comes, you'll definitely give everyone a shock and scare them to death." "Humph." Chapter 347. Hua Chenhuan was amused by Su Yiyan's angry words, and a warm current flowed through his heart. To put it nicely, these people are assessing the situation. To put it bluntly, they are fence-sitters. They are not reliable at all. "I know. Since you know, why are you still with them?" The more Su Yiyan thought about it, the angrier he became. When he thought of how much gossip and ridicule Hua Chenhuan had endured over the years, he wanted to beat all of them up. Different people have different uses. People like them, when necessary. I won't feel bad even if I push them out. Su Yiyan frowned and still felt that it was a little dangerous. But people like them are too unstable. That's exactly what I want. I don't need to pretend to be a snake with people who are really stable. People have weaknesses when they have desires. Don't worry, I know what to do. Hua Chenhuan didn't want to be entangled with Su Yiyan on this topic, so he changed the subject. "You just said that I'll get better soon." Su Yiyan didn't understand what he meant at first and said subconsciously, "As long as the treatment goes well, you'll get better soon. Trust me." Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly and he smiled faintly. "Of course I trust you. But, in order to make me get better quickly, are you really not going to consider giving me a few injections tonight?" Su Yiyan was confused. Why did the topic go around in such a big circle and come back to the original point? Also, weren't you afraid of needles before? Why are you so eager to ask for injections now? After all this time, are you a masochist? The matter with the several old directors of the Hua group was eventually left unsettled. The reason was that Su Yiyan was a little annoyed by Hua Chenhuan's pressuring step by step and felt that he should urgently study to deal with someone's evolving thick-skinned face. The family Hua incident started with Hua Xiaofeng being scolded as a scumbag. Hua Qihan cut off his tail to survive and suffered heavy losses. Not only did Su Yiyan earn a wave of sympathy, but he also gained some other subtle benefits. This is a summary of the newcomers who want to transfer to our company. A newcomer who transferred to our company? Su Yiyen took the thick stack of personal information and was a little confused. Why are there so many? Xia Junqing glanced at her meaningfully. That's all. But this doesn't make sense. Although it's usually job-hopping season after the new year, isn't this a little too much? It's all thanks to you. My contribution? What did I do? Xia Junqing looked at Su Yiyen's frightened expression and couldn't help but laugh. Did you forget that the video of you tearing apart the scumbag who broke off his engagement and the White Lotus mistress was on the hot topic list? Su Yiyen blinked and found it a little funny. They came here because of this? Because of my handsome and heroic appearance when I tore the dregs with my bare hands? That's not it. They were attracted by the domineering integrity of you defending your own artist. Su Yiyen choked. Is that true? Have you forgotten how you dissed that woman back then? Su Yiyen thought about it carefully. It seemed that such a thing had really happened. So, they think that you're really a good boss because you can still stand up for your own artist when you're being pestered by those two weirdos. You're not stingy with your praise for outstanding artists. Are you sure they really think so and not think that I'm so young and easier to get along with than those old foxes? Xia Junqing was speechless. Chapter 348. Ahem, no matter what, these people did come to us. Look. Su Yiyen flipped through the information under her hand. Just because they came, it doesn't mean that we have to accept them. Xia Junqing was slightly stunned. You mean, first, get someone to verify the character of these people. They aren't fake characters on the screen, but real characters and temperaments. In addition, investigate the reason why they left their original company. Okay. Apart from this, is there anything else we need to pay attention to? For example, ability, fame, traffic, and so on. In business, although Xia Junqing had a rough understanding of Su Yiyen's temperament during this period of time, they were still an entertainment company, so it was not good to not take these into consideration. Su Yiyen muttered, character is the most important. I don't want the company to attract troublemakers and shit stirrers just because of fame and traffic. Just look at Hu Xiaofeng. No matter how famous and how much traffic one had, if one's character was not good, they would sooner or later fail. When that time came, don't expect them to make a profit. It would be good enough if they didn't clean up their mess. Of course, I'm not saying that these are not important. Under the premise that their character is good, we can give priority to artists who are capable, hardworking, and motivated. Of course, if these artists have their own topics and traffic, that would be even better. After Su Yiyen mentioned it, the so-called fame and traffic became the focus of attention. Xia Junqing felt that it was unexpected but reasonable. He frowned and said nothing in the end. Su Yuxuan had said before that this company was a gift to his sister. If it made a profit, it would be his sister's, and if it made a loss, it would be his. In addition, the company's rules can be changed appropriately. Those who are capable and down-to-earth, and talented in all aspects can be nurtured. Those who are not talented but down-to-earth can work behind the scenes. Although it is a little old-fashioned to teach according to the individual's ability, it is not without reason. In my company, opportunities can be given to anyone. It just depends on whether you can grasp them. Xia Junqing's face darkened. He knew that Su Yiyen was talking about the company's internal strife and unspoken rules. Speaking of this, that Ren, hearing Su Yiyen ask about this person, Xia Junqing's eyes quickly turned cold. Ren Miaoqiong. Oh, right, how's the matter with Ren Miaoqiong coming along? She's been shelved. Her manager has also left. The other thing is that director. You don't want to scram? Su Yiyen narrowed her eyes, and the aura around her was 50 to 60% similar to Hu Chenhuan's when she was angry. That day, Hu Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping openly came to Eastern City to block her. The more Su Yiyen thought about it, the more she felt that something was wrong. Although this incident was part of the original plot in the original novel and had happened in her previous life, the original novel only briefly mentioned the origin of this incident. It said that the two of them had accidentally heard from others that one of the investors of the variety show, Dong Cheng, was her private company. Who was this person? When this incident happened, she had just taken over Dong Cheng. It was not strange for Hu Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping to hear that Dong Cheng was her family's business. Perhaps it was because this person knew that the nominal boss of Dong Cheng had changed hands and revealed it. Su Yiyan felt that this informant was very likely to be an internal staff of her company. For this reason, Su Yiyan asked Xia Junxing to secretly investigate this matter. In the end, they really found out the problem. Chapter 349. The person who had deliberately leaked the matter was a female artist who had just been signed by Dongqing City. This female artist wasn't stupid. In order to prevent others from investigating her, she deliberately leaked the matter to a big mouth in the production team, who then spread the news indiscriminately. Where there were people, there would be gossip. It was very easy to form gossip, but it wasn't easy to investigate. Thanks to this big mouth, the news of Dongqing City's change of ownership of Su Yiyan only reached Wen Jingping's ears after 5 or 6 rounds. It took Xia Junxing some effort to investigate. Fortunately, if he didn't want others to know, he shouldn't have done it in the first place. After a few twists and turns, he finally found the source. When Su Yiyan saw this female artist, she was a little surprised. Didn't the company only send 4 female artists to this show? Where did this woman come from? At that time, Xia Junxing glanced at her with a subtle expression and said awkwardly, "This female artist was groomed by Xiao Dong. Xiao Dong is the nephew of our company's chairman Xiao." Su Yiyan instantly understood. She got in through connections? Yes. How are her results? She was eliminated from the top 10. Her ability isn't particularly good, but her looks, Su Yiyan instantly understood again. Canary might not be good in other aspects, but her looks had to pass. Does Chairman Xiao have a lot of power in the company? Has he done this before? He does have a certain amount of authority. His nephew likes to use his connections to intimidate others. Previously, he often snatched artists under other managers in the company. I warned him several times, but he refused to change. After all, he was only helping Su Yuxuan manage the company. Logically speaking, Chairman Xiao had more power than him. As long as the two of them didn't go overboard, Xia Junxing couldn't clash with them head-on. However, he didn't expect that these two idiots would really treat Dongqing City as their own after acting like tyrants in the company all these years. They even dared to touch the new big boss. But reality proved that they were that bold. If they let Wen Jingping and Hu Xiaofeng cause a ruckus and succeed, Su Yiyan would lose face and prestige in the company. It would be easier for the old directors to manipulate her. A few girls who had just started their careers would also be accused of going in through the back door and suffer a certain amount of pressure from public opinion. Their reputation and image would also be negatively affected. At that time, it would be much easier for Ren Miaoqiong, who had roughly the same star path as them, to snatch resources from them. Su Yiyan hated Little B** Cheese who schemed behind their backs the most. He immediately got someone to freeze this woman and fire Xiao Dong. Su Yiyan was a newly appointed official, and this action was undoubtedly a show of strength to the company's directors. Chairman Xiao had yet to see the situation clearly. As soon as his nephew was fired, he made a scene in front of Xia Junxing and even wanted to make a scene in front of Su Yiyan. He really didn't want to leave and even made a scene in the company. It wasn't until I handed those things over to him that his expression changed and he left angrily. This uncle and nephew weren't good people to begin with. Over the years, they had relied on their seniority in the company and their background to do many dirty things. Just because they didn't investigate before didn't mean that they didn't know about it. Now that they did, they found out that they had fired many people. He's angry? He's done so many bad things, but I'm not angry yet. Why is he angry? Su Yiyan sneered. Get someone to keep an eye on him. If he dares to play any tricks, send him and his nephew to jail. Take it as getting rid of evil for the people. Chapter 350. Xia Junxing agreed verbally, but he secretly sighed in his heart, I'm afraid I won't have this opportunity. He had already sent an identical copy of the information he had found to Su Yiyan before sending it to Su Yuxuan. Su Yiyan was kind and did not kill him. However, Su Yuxuan's sister Khan, who treated his sister as his life, would not let him off easily. It would be difficult for him to play any tricks again. By the way, pay attention to this artist. Xia Junxing pulled out a personal resume from the top of the stack of information. Luo Weibing? Su Yiyan frowned and pondered. He inexplicably felt that the name was a bit familiar. Yes, the youngest double gold award winner so far, Luo Weibing. Double gold award winner? Su Yiyan was surprised. He also jumped into our company? Because of me? To be precise, Ning Chirue led him here. Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed slightly. What does this have to do with Ning Chirue? Yi Qiliang was one thing, but now he had attracted a double gold award winner. Did that guy have a physique that attracted bees and butterflies? Ning Chirue, who was not used to staying in the hospital, was taken home early after he was exposed to good food and drink. His complexion did not change at all and he even gained some weight. Achoo. Ahem, didn't you ask him to post a recent situation that day to show that he was not frozen, but was being treated? After that, he discussed with the company's publicity department and released a statement while you were being pushed to the hot topic list by Jing Qiuying's fans because of that video. In this statement, Ning Chirue confessed that he was seriously ill and needed treatment for a period of time before he could return to the entertainment industry. He also emphasized the company's warm company. After knowing that he was ill, not only did they not give up on him, but they were also very enthusiastic to help him find the best doctor to treat him. Now that his condition had stabilized and was slowly improving, he would be able to meet his fans again in a few months, so they did not have to worry too much. In order to increase the authenticity of his statement, Ning Chirue also uploaded a few selfies and medical records so that his fans could see that his health was improving. As soon as this statement came out, Ning Chirue's fans, who were originally full of hostility, were dumbfounded. On one hand, they felt sorry for their idol's illness, and on the other, they felt ashamed for their previous indiscriminate cursing of the agency. After the company reposted his statement, it attracted a lot of fans. Did you bring Luo Weibing along? Yes. Luo Weibing signed a 6-year contract with his original agency, which will expire at the end of next month. With his current fame and status, the company is naturally unwilling to let him go. It is said that half a year ago, they have been talking to him about renewing the contract, but he has not relented. Why is that? Does that agency not treat him well? It's neither good nor bad. The main reason why he didn't continue is probably because of his younger sister. Younger sister? Yes, Luo Weibing has a younger sister. She is 12 years old this year. It is said that she has some heart problems and has not been in good health. Since last year, Luo Weibing consciously reduced his workload to accompany his sick sister. His agency was a little dissatisfied, and because of this, they left him. They have not been able to renew the contract with Luo Weibing. Luo Weibing, double gold award-winning actor, younger sister, heart disease. She was wondering why this name was so familiar. Wasn't this guy the sucker that Wen Jingping hooked up with shortly after entering the entertainment industry? Chapter 351. Luo Weibing was a sucker. To be precise, in the original work, except for Hua Xiaofeng, who won the beauty, these spare men were basically suckers. Including Ning Chirue, who had gone astray and escaped from the sea of bitterness. Poor lost little cutie Ning, achoo. Who is talking about me again? But Luo Weibing was more tragic than other supporting men. He was born in an ordinary working family. His father went out to work and unfortunately died. His mother was too sad and died after falling ill. leaving him and his only sister to depend on each other. At that time, he was still underage and his sister was young. The person in charge of this area wanted to find a temporary guardian for these two poor children. But the relatives who had a good relationship with their family in the past all changed their faces when they saw that his parents were gone. They treated the two of them as burdens and kicked them around. Luo Weibing protected his sister and tasted the fickleness of human nature at a young age. In order to support his sister, he dropped out of school to work after graduating from junior high school. Later, he met a talent scout in a bar and was brought into the entertainment circle. He had no background and was not even from a professional school. With his tenacity, he became the best actor in a few years. Moreover, he became the best actor with double gold awards. The effort he put in could be seen. However, just as the two siblings' days were getting better and they were looking forward to the future, Luo Weibing's sister was suddenly found to have a heart attack. Even if a lot of money was spent on treatment, the condition was still deteriorating. In the original work, Wen Jingping met Luo Weibing's sister when she went to the hospital with Hu Xiaofeng and accidentally ate shrimp allergies. Wen Jingping immediately saw that the watch on Luo Weibing's sister's hand was expensive. She thought that this child was from a rich family, so she wanted to make friends with her. Luo Weibing's sister was only 11 or 12 years old at that time. She had been protected by Luo Weibing and was very simple. Wen Jingping quickly gained her trust and relied on her to make friends with Luo Weibing. Luo Weibing saw that his sister liked this young lady so much. He took Wen Jingping to several crews and successfully made Wen Jingping popular. It could be said that Wen Jingping could quickly gain a foothold in the entertainment circle because of Luo Weibing. It was a pity that Luo Weibing didn't expect that his kindness would become a death sentence for him and his sister. After Wen Jingping quickly became popular, because she was brought out by Luo Weibing, the agency company to which Wen Jingping belonged asked Wen Jingping to take Luo Weibing to hype up the couple to help her become popular. Naturally, this matter could not be hidden from Hu Xiaofeng. His girlfriend was flirting with another man on the screen. How could a straight man like him bear to be cuckolded? In the original novel, Hu Xiaofeng had never experienced the embarrassing situation of being chased out of the Hu Corporation. It was difficult for him to be the legitimate heir of the Hu family, but how difficult could it be to destroy someone? Because of jealousy, Hu Xiaofeng found Luo Weibing's relatives and bribed several actresses who had worked with Luo Weibing. He asked them to fabricate lies and run to the media to cry and make trouble. In just a few days, Luo Weibing was caught in a series of scandals, such as ungrateful, breaking the contract, and sleeping with actresses in the same crew. From a double gold movie king with good reputation, he became a rat crossing the street. However, Wen Jingping only called him and comforted him softly on the phone. She refused to say anything in public, and even her eyes turned red when the media asked about Luo Weibing. Chapter 352. The explanation given in the original novel was that she didn't know how to help Luo Weibing and was so anxious that her eyes turned red. The media mistakenly thought that she had been harassed by Luo Weibing like those actresses, so her eyes turned red as soon as she heard his name. Her fans also followed up with a bunch of photos and videos of her and Luo Weibing appearing in public and edited them to prove that she was a forced victim. When this report came out, not only was Wen Jingping not affected by Luo Weibing's negative news, but she also earned a wave of sympathy from passers-by. Were the facts really as written in the original novel? All of this was Wen Jingping's good intentions and bad things? Did she have no idea what Hu Xiaofeng did? Not necessarily. It was human nature not to publicly support Luo Weibing on the internet, but if the media deliberately distorted the facts and treated her as a victim. Wen Jingping couldn't restrain the attention of the media, but she could at least restrain her own fans, right? The fans were so organized to declare that she was a victim, so there must be a lot of people behind the scenes. Poor Luo Weibing was used and sucked dry. He was stepped on and became a stepping stone for others. Even his sister was suddenly unemployed because of him and even violated many advertising contracts. He owed a lot of money, so she couldn't continue her treatment and died not long after. Just because of a moment of kindness, his career was ruined, his reputation was ruined, and his only sister was dead. If he wasn't a fool, what was he? Yayan, Yayan? Xia Juanxing's low voice successfully pulled Su Yiyan's attention back. He chose our company, is it related to his sister? I heard from Ning Qirue's agent that Luo Weibing contacted him after seeing Ning Qirue's physical test reports. He said that he wanted to visit Ning Qirue in person. After Ning Qirue knew about it, he agreed to visit him. After seeing Ning Qirue with his own eyes and confirming that what he posted online was true, he asked him to introduce him to his attending doctor. Attending doctor? Su Yiyan laughed. When did she become Ning Qirue's attending doctor? During this period, although she went to poke him once every few days, the Ning family specially hired another family doctor to help with the follow-up care and recovery work. The fact that Ning Qirue could eat as much as he did now was not all thanks to her alone. Luo Weibing seems to have shown Ning Qirue's medical records to other doctors. They all said that it was a miracle that he could recover so quickly. So he thinks that the person who can cure Ning Qirue must have some skills? Yeah. What did Ning Qirue say to him? He said. Xia Junxing rubbed his nose and found it a little funny. He said that this is a special benefit for employees of the company and that he can't reveal it to outsiders. Su Yiyan was silent for a while before she asked faintly, "Don't you think that the employees nowadays are very greedy?" Xia Junxing looked at her blankly. He didn't quite understand what she meant. As a boss, not only do I have to care about their future career, but I also have to be responsible for their health. Do you think it's easy for me? Xia Junxing, cough. Xia Junxing suppressed the unconsciously raised corners of his mouth and asked in a low voice, "Then Luo Weibing, let's arrange a time for a meeting. If he's really a talent, it's okay to take him in." She always had some subtle sympathy for those who were miserably harmed by Wen Jingping, especially the innocent child, who was still so young. Chapter 353. Yi Qiliang quickly sent a message back. For the time being, Su Yiyan would be teaching them on Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoons. Now that the schedule was settled, the only problem left was the remuneration. Even if the teachers were interns, they would still receive a salary or even a subsidy. For someone like Su Yiyan, who was specially invited, she could not be treated as a temporary teacher. Yi Qiliang even felt that even if he paid Su Yiyan based on his standards, it would not be worth 1/1,000,000th of the knowledge she would teach the students. Su Yiyan seemed to see his dilemma, so she took the initiative to say, "In terms of remuneration, you can just compare it to the substitute teachers in your school." How can that be? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not a serious teacher, and I don't plan to be a teacher for a long time. When Yi Qiliang asked her if teachers like him could also sit in on the class, Su Yiyan thought about it. After all, she was not a serious teacher. She definitely did not have the experience of teaching and educating people. After she taught this group of people, they would be able to personally teach the basic knowledge to others. Moreover, you've already helped me a lot by helping me get that special medical license. Su Yiyan's medical practice was different from other medical systems. She could not get a normal medical license. It was Yi Qiliang who used his connections to help her get a special medical license. Yi Qiliang still felt a little guilty when he heard her say that. Su Yiyan also noticed this and smiled faintly. "You don't have to feel burdened. I agreed to teach these things because if these things are really in my hands and I can't teach them to others, they will be lost again in 100 years, just like many things before. It's a good thing that people are willing to learn, but what they learn in the end depends on them. Of course. By the way, I have to accompany my husband home this week. This class will start next week. It just so happens that you have time to make arrangements for the students." Okay. Su Yiyan had said in advance that she would be bringing Hua Chenhuan home, so the whole family woke up early in the morning to wait. Qing Xiuqin had been pacing around the kitchen door since early in the morning. Together with Qin Shueru, he watched Aunt Li cook Su Yiyan's favorite dishes. Mr. Su looked at his wife who was standing at the entrance of the kitchen and frowned. So what if she's back? Isn't it natural for her to go back to her own home? With such a big fuss, the people outside might think that she won't come back after getting married. Su Yuxuan also chimed in sourly, that's right. You should have just said it. Why are you still blocking the door? You can't even help. Aren't you just adding to the trouble? As soon as he finished speaking, Qing Xiuqin looked over and snorted coldly, don't think that I didn't hear you. Who was the one who said that I was so excited that I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night and almost fell down the stairs when I woke up to go to the bathroom? Cough, cough, cough. Su Yuxuan coughed guiltily and turned his face away. Mr. Su instantly looked at him with disdain. This kid was still too inexperienced. How could he drop the ball at such a crucial time? Qing Xiuqin sneered when he saw this. What are you looking at? You're the same. You're holding the newspaper upside down. Do you think that I'm short-sighted and can't tell? Mr. Su, who had been silently looking down. Chapter 354. The Su family was busy preparing for the arrival of Su Yiyan and the new son-in-law. Hua Qinhuan, on the other hand, was inexplicably nervous after getting out of the car. What's wrong? Su Yiyan held Hua Qinhuan's hand. Feeling the sweat on her palm, he couldn't help but be surprised. Nervous? Yes. It's not the first time you've seen them. Why are you still so nervous? I didn't see you this nervous when we came here before. It's different. Su Yiyan raised his eyebrows. How is it different? Previously, he was just my fiancé. Now, he's my husband. With a different identity, her state of mind was naturally different when facing these people. Then you don't have to be nervous. We're a real family now. They won't make things difficult for you. Su Yiyan could actually understand Hua Qinhuan's feelings. Before they got married, her family wasn't technically his family. Now that they were married, her family was Hua Qinhuan's family. After her parents passed away, Hua Qinhuan actually didn't have a real family anymore. To have a family again, and a family of elders at that, Hua Qinhuan needed a buffer. With me and Dun Dun here, we'll protect you. As Su Yiyan spoke, he picked up Dun Dun, who had just gotten out of the car and was about to rush home, and stuffed it into Hua Qinhuan's arms. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard by the back of its neck, was confused. What are you doing? You can talk about things, but you can't throw me around like an object. I have a temper too. Su Yiyan's comforting seemed to have some effect. Hua Qinhuan seemed to have calmed down a lot. Of course, it was only on the surface. The two people and the dog had just walked into the courtyard. Qing Xiuqin's people, who saw them from afar, all fell silent. The atmosphere in the room suddenly became subtle. Even Dun Dun, who was in Hua Qinhuan's arms, subconsciously widened his eyes filled with confusion. In the end, Su Yiyan was the first to break the silence. She said helplessly, Dad, Mom, why are you standing there like idiots? I've only been away for a few days, and you can't recognize me? Only then did they wake up from their dream. Qing Xiuqin snorted coldly. I think you're the one who forgot about us. You've been married for so long, but you don't even know to call home and go home to take a look. You really forget your mother when you have a husband. Mr. Su hurriedly chimed in, she also forgot about Dad. Su Yiyan, Qing Xiuqin. Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment. She took the initiative to step forward and intimately held Qing Xiuqin's hand. She couldn't help but laugh. I've been too busy recently, haven't I? Busy? What busy? You. Qing Xiuqin suddenly remembered that Su Yiyan still had a company and a restaurant. He suddenly felt a little distressed. If I had known that you wanted to open a restaurant, I wouldn't have given you that entertainment company. How can you not be busy now that you've been running back and forth between the two places? Look, you've lost so much weight in just a few days. Before Su Yiyan could say anything, Hua Qinhuan followed up and said, It's my fault. I didn't take good care of her. Hua Chenhuan's straightforward apology made Qing Shuqin choke. Su Yiyan was worried that the atmosphere would become cold again. She hurriedly said, "Actually, it's not that bad. I was busy before because the restaurant had just opened, and everything wasn't on the right track. I also just took over the company, so it was inevitable that there were more things to do. Now that most of these problems have been solved, and the new restaurant is gradually getting on the right track, I don't need to be there to help anymore. It saved me a lot of trouble, and I'm not as busy as before." Chapter 355. It's good that you know what you're doing. Dad and Mom don't expect you to have a big career or earn a lot of money. We just want you to be safe and happy. Don't tire yourself out. Our two families can't afford to raise you alone, right? Qing Shuqin originally wanted to say, our family, but when he thought about how Su Yiyan was already married and could be considered part of the family Hua, he changed it to two families. I know. Su Yiyan immediately noticed the pause and complained with a smile, "He said it, and you said it too. I've been hearing these words for the past few days." When he heard Su Yiyan say that Hua Chenhuan also cared about her health and didn't want her to be too tired, Qing Shuqin's expression became much better. He snorted coldly and said, "You're not happy that we care about you? We've spoiled you too much. All right. Yan Yan specially brought Chenhuan over for dinner. We'll talk about these things later. Let's eat first." Qin Shueru saw that they were almost done talking, so she quickly went up to smooth things over. When Su Yiyan heard her speak, she quickly went over and said with a smile, "Auntie, how have you been feeling recently? Have you eaten the medicinal cuisine I asked the medicinal cuisine restaurant to send you on time?" The baby in Qin Shueru's stomach was already more than 3 months old. Her stomach wasn't very obvious yet, but there were obvious symptoms of morning sickness. Qin Shueru held Su Yiyan's hand and smiled slightly. Yes. A few days ago, my stomach was very nauseous. Thanks to the medicinal cuisine your restaurant sent over, I was able to eat some of it. I'm much better now." Qin Shueru pulled Su Yiyan to sit at the dining table. Father Su and the others also sat down. Qing Shuqin took the opportunity to run into the small kitchen and urged them to serve the dishes that were prepared first. Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyan's harmonious appearance with her family and smiled slightly. She also turned her wheelchair and sat beside her. Although Su Yiyan wasn't at home during this period, she sent them a lot of rare ingredients one after another. Aunt Li learned from Su Yiyan for a while in the early days. Later, she found Su Yiyan's live broadcast room to practice a few times. Although the dishes weren't as good as Su Yiyan's, they were much better than before. As a result, the Su and the others would come home on time to eat unless they really had something urgent and had to work. Considering that there were more people at home today, Aunt Li not only made a lot of dishes, but also a lot of different flavors. However, most of them were pickled vegetables and spicy dishes. Su Yiyan was sitting next to Qin Shueru. She could not help but laugh when she saw Qin Shueru's chopsticks reaching for the sour dishes. People say that sour children are born while spicy daughters are born. Auntie's baby is most likely going to be a chubby boy. Qing Shuqin heard her and laughed. I think so too. Xiao Ru likes to eat sour food recently. It must be a fat boy. Qin Shueru blushed slightly and smiled. She didn't say anything. Did Auntie and Uncle discuss whether you like a boy or a girl? Qin Shueru was a little embarrassed. She smiled and said, Your uncle said that a boy or a girl is good. What about you? Do you like a boy or a girl? Qin Shueru was silent for a moment and said softly, I also think that a boy or a girl isn't important. It's good either way. For her, who might not have a child of her own in this lifetime, having this child was already a great blessing. Why would she care about the boy or girl? Thinking of this, Qin Shueru turned to look at Su Yiyan and smiled faintly. But if I really have to choose one, I might want a daughter as obedient and sensible as Yan Yan. Chapter 356. When Qin Shueru said this, everyone present was stunned. Unexpectedly, the first to break the silence was Su Yuanyuan's father. He raised his head and looked at his son, then looked at his precious daughter. He nodded solemnly and said, "Yes, girls are good." Su Yuxuan, who was shot even though he was lying down. "Wait, if you want to talk about your daughter, then talk about your daughter. Why are you looking at me? Don't think I didn't see the disdain in your eyes." When Qing Shuqin heard Su Yuxuan's father's words, he also nodded and said, "Girls are better. You can give her pretty dresses, braid her hair, and take her shopping." Qing Shuqin sighed and changed his tone. "Yan Yan has always been a considerate little girl. She's obedient and sensible. Her father and I never worry about her. She's not like a certain bastard. He was born like a frisky monkey, crying all day long. He was only 5 or 6 years old, but he was already jumping up and down, causing trouble for me everywhere. His father and I were so angry that we wanted to kick him out of the house a few times. I'd rather have a wooden club than him." The drumstick that Su Yuxuan picked up with great difficulty fell into his bowl with a plop sound. He looked like he had nothing to live for. As expected, he was adopted. Although he was a little annoying when he was young, wasn't that because he was young and immature? Who didn't have a Chinibu period? It was too much to bring up old scores. Pfft. Su Yiyen was amused by her brother's hopeless expression. Suddenly, her hand was held. She was stunned. She turned her head and met Hua Chenhuan's smiling eyes. Su Yiyen's lips curled up. She couldn't be bothered to laugh at her brother anymore. She picked up the serving chopsticks and put some food in Hua Chenhuan's bowl. "Aunt Li's cooking is pretty good. She made a lot of your favorite spicy dishes today. Eat more." "Okay." Su Yiyen's words seemed to have accidentally poked Su Yuxuan and the others' sore spot. Their expressions instantly changed and they said awkwardly, "It's not specially made for you. We like it too." His words sounded like he was trying to hide 300 tails. Hua Chenhuan originally thought that Su Yiyen's words were just to comfort her. Now that she heard Su Yuxuan's words, she was a little uncertain. Could it be that these dishes were specially made for him? The atmosphere at the table suddenly became subtle. Qing Shuqin was not as awkward as the father and son. He coughed lightly and took the initiative to pick up a crayfish for Hua Chenhuan. "Now that you're married to Yan Yan, our home is your home. Don't be too restrained and eat more." Hua Chenhuan looked at the prawns in her bowl and suddenly understood the meaning of Su Yiyen's words before entering the house. In fact, he was not the only one. Qing Shuqin and the others were also trying their best to adapt to the addition of another family member. They might be arrogant and clumsy, but they were really trying to accept him and care for him in their unique way. With this thought, Hua Chenhuan picked up the crayfish with her chopsticks. Her eyes were filled with gentleness and warmth. "Father Su, humph. My wife is putting food in my son-in-law's bowl, but she's not putting food in my bowl. Su Yuxuan, humph. Even the latecomer has people putting food in his bowl, but no one cares about me. Who is her biological son?" Su Yiyen saw the dissatisfaction in the two's eyes. Her eyebrows slightly curved, and she hurriedly put some food in each of their bowls. "Dad, brother, you guys should eat more too." The father and son were stunned. They looked at the food in their bowls and instantly beamed with joy. They happily ate the food. How could they still remember their dissatisfaction from being ignored? Chapter 357. Qing Shuqin looked at the father and son who were bought over by a few chopsticks of food. He was angry and amused at the same time. He cursed in his heart, useless. During the meal, other than the occasional fight for favor, there was no other trouble. Moreover, because Hua Chenhuan deliberately avoided her, she became the most favored person at the dinner table. As a result, the other two men who were frequently ignored were full of resentment. However, it was also because of this that the subtle estrangement between them and Hua Chenhuan dissipated a lot. Hua Chenhuan quite liked the atmosphere in the Su family. There was a sense of liveliness amidst the noise, unlike the family Hua, which was lifeless. Even eating a meal felt like torture. After lunch, the elders impatiently pulled the two of them aside and questioned them in detail about their married life. Hua Chenhuan cooperated and said whatever was on her mind. Su Yiyan was a little embarrassed. She gulped down water and did not say anything. She only nodded and shook her head when asked. After enduring the elders' bombardment with great difficulty, Su Yiyan hurriedly took Hua Chenhuan and wanted to escape. However, she was stopped by Qin Shueru. Yen Yen, the baby is already more than 3 months old. You want to go back? Qin Shueru nodded. Cheng Juanhao and old Master Cheng had asked her to stay when they went back. On one hand, they were worried that it was not safe for her to run around when she was just pregnant. On the other hand, there were some things in the Cheng family that had not been resolved. It was not peaceful. She was afraid that she would not be able to take care of the baby if she went back. On the other hand, they hoped that she would stay. Su Yiyan could help her recuperate more so that she would suffer less when she gave birth to the baby. Now that the Cheng family had basically stabilized, her baby was already more than 3 months old. The checkup showed that everything was fine. Although everyone in the Su family treated her well, it was not her own family. Moreover, the person she missed the most was not here. Qin Shueru could not help but feel a little. Su Yiyan naturally understood this. Other than wanting to see her family, she also wanted to see how Qin Shueru was doing. Since there were no problems, she could indeed go back. After all, they were not what she needed the most at this time. Okay. I've seen the test report. The baby is fine. There's nothing wrong with your body. If you want to go back, tell uncle first and let him arrange for someone to pick you up. Qin Shueru heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, she had a kind of blind trust in Su Yiyan. Even if she had gone through a checkup, she still wanted to get Su Yiyan's approval before she could be completely at ease. Rest well. In a few months, we'll visit you together. By then, Hua Chenhuan would probably be able to stand up. Yes. After the two of them bade farewell to Qin Shueru, they prepared to go home. Just as they got into the car, Su Yiyan hurriedly said, "My mom and the others aren't usually so long-winded. It's just that they haven't seen me for a while, so they were worried and asked a few more questions. Thank you for your hard work today." Hua Chenhuan shook her head and held Su Yiyan's hand. They're fine. Even if Su Yiyan was married, in their eyes, she was still their most beloved sister, daughter. They cared about her warmly. Perhaps it was because of such a family atmosphere that they could raise such a good person like Su Yiyan. And now, she was his. Su Yiyan was about to say something when her phone suddenly rang. She looked down and was shocked by the text message. Why is there so much money in my account all of a sudden? Su Yiyan repeatedly confirmed the string of zeros on the text message. Just as she was about to call to ask, she was stopped by the person beside her. Yes? Hua Chenhuan looked straight into her eyes with a smile in his eyes. I'm handing in my salary. Chapter 358. What? Su Yiyan's eyes widened. She didn't know how to react. Some of the companies that were transferred to you before were profitable and had dividends. Now that Hua Chenhuan mentioned it, Su Yiyan remembered that Hua Chenhuan had transferred many companies to her when they got married. Su Yiyan didn't pay much attention to it at the time, but she didn't expect. But this is too much, isn't it? Although the Su family wasn't as big as the family Hua, they were still considered a wealthy family. Although her brother and father were in charge of her family's companies, they had never given her less dividends. Su Yiyan thought that her family had given her enough dividends, but now that she saw the amount that Hua Chenhuan handed in, she realized that it paled in comparison. What do those companies of yours do? How did you? Su Yiyen lowered her head and looked at the long string of zeros. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this amount was enough to buy a company or a shopping mall. Didn't you notice it before? Su Yiyen's mouth twitched. She thought to herself, at that time, I didn't think that what's yours is mine, and what's mine is yours. There's no difference, so there's no need to make such a clear distinction. She didn't pay much attention to it, but who would have thought? Most of the companies on the market are managed by Xiao Yang and the others, but they're in charge of different things. Xian is in charge of the development of virtual simulators. Virtual simulators? Why did this term sound so familiar? Let me give you a simple example. The smell and taste simulators used by online streamers were developed by their company. Su Yiyen was shocked when she heard that. Those things were developed by your company. It's your company now, Hua Chenhuan corrected her and continued. In addition, there are other similar simulators. These simulators have been used on various websites, and each website has to pay you a patent fee every month. Su Yiyen's face stiffened. So, this is the patent fee? The patent fee and a portion of the revenue. Hua Chenhuan thought for a moment and added, there should be more next month. More? Su Yiyen almost choked on his own breath. This was already more than enough. How much more could he get next month? Is there a special project next month? You just said that Xian is in charge of the virtual simulator development. Then Xiao Yang and Yanbai. Xiao Yang is responsible for the development of holographic games. A holographic game? Su Yiyen narrowed her eyes. Is it the holographic game that I'm thinking of? Although she was not a fan of games, she had seen some sci-fi games and sci-fi movies. Naturally, she knew the difference between this so-called holographic game and ordinary games. That should be right. Then you just said that there will be more next month. Could it be, Hua Chenhuan didn't hide anything? The technology for the holographic game has matured. After internal testing this month, it will be officially released at the beginning of next month. First, there were all kinds of virtual simulators, and then there were holographic games. What kind of godly husband did she marry? As if this wasn't exciting enough, Hua Chenhuan's eyelashes trembled slightly. He whispered, this holographic game will be named after both of our names. The company is now under your name, and all future revenue will be handed over to you. Su Yiyen was a little dizzy from this huge pie. Ah, exciting. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.